Welcome back to Man the Weatherman's channel. Here is your third update on what is still Tropical Storm Idalia. This is soon going to become Hurricane Idalia, probably in the next update. It is still a category, it is still a tropical storm. It is expected to become a category 1 as the night goes on, as it passes either over or next to Cuba. This is the newly upgraded and updated graphic on Idalia and the impacts that are going to be needed in some of these locations. So, Idalia is still forecasted to impact the Big Bend region, but it is not just the Big Bend region that's going to have the worst impacts. It's all the way down to Tampa. Tampa, we have some of the storm surge and strong winds. A lot of the strong winds will be within the closer you are towards the eye. But on the eastern side, the wind is also going to be down there as well. So there is a lot more swath, the bigger swath of wind on the east side than there will be on the west side. But the strongest winds will be towards the middle of the storm. Though, keep that, just because you're not in the cone but you're still close to the cone, or you're a little more south, does not mean that you're not going to get anything. We still have outer bands, we still have flooding, we still have storm surge, and this is going to extend all the way through South Carolina, North Carolina, through back out into the Atlantic, and then hitting parts of Bermuda with some storm surge. So we do, not storm surge, sorry, high surf. So we do have this still becoming a big threat for the southeast as this goes on, and even some flash flooding. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look here. This is yesterday's graphic. I just want to take a look at the difference. So this was yesterday's graphic at around this time, just a bit before, and then this is today's graphic. You can see there's been a major change with the confidence, and this was going to happen once it starts to get its act together. We're going to get more confidence and where it's starting to come. We still don't have much confidence, but it does look like anywhere in the Big Bend we have that chance for a landfall, especially near the Clearwater area. But this is still continuing to move. Well, it's forecast to continue to move to the Big Bend. We've added Georgia here just to make things a bit more, inclusive. Maybe South Carolina tomorrow. And here are the new watches and warnings as of the 5 o'clock advisory. Next advisory is the 8 o'clock advisory. That's intermediate. But this one, we have, with the latest one, we've had new watches being issued, new warnings being issued. Let's start from east to west. So on the east side, we have Savannah, Georgia. You're under a storm surge watch and a tropical storm watch. Jacksonville under a tropical storm watch. Orlando under a tropical storm watch. Then, if you go a little bit towards the middle part of Florida, we have hurricane watches in effect for parts of the we have hurricane watches in effect for parts of Gainesville and parts of southern Georgia, and then we have tropical storm watches to the north and southern of those hurricane watches in southern parts of Georgia. We have hurricane warnings now in effect for Tampa all the way through pretty much towards the Tallahassee area. Tallahassee under a hurricane watch and a tropical storm warning. That I'm pretty sure they are going to get upgraded to a hurricane watch as the storm gets closer. Down towards Fort Myers, still under a tropical storm warning. And then we have a little sliver there for Naples and Marco Island under tropical storm warnings as well. Storm surge warnings have been allowed to expire in that area. They've been moved towards the north, but we still could see some storm surge, especially in the Fort Myers area, in the bay there. And then as we move towards the storm surge warnings, we have storm surge warnings all the way from Indian Pass through Tampa and then down towards the Fort Myers region. We also have tropical storm warnings in effect for this part of the Keys down here. That's also, can't see my cursor. We have warnings there as well, and watches in effect, tropical storm watches in effect for the Key West area as well. So here's just a little airport information. So we do have an airport closures report here. Tampa International Airport is closing at 12:01 a.m. On Tuesday. Oops, my bad. On Tuesday, currently it is operating normally, and St. Petersburg Clearwater International Airport will be closing at 3 p.m. Tomorrow, and is also currently operating normally. That's just a little checkup on the airports. If you have anything to go anywhere in parts of Florida, those are going to be closing tomorrow. So here's the latest satellite imagery of Idalia. You can see Franklin off to the northeast there. Definitely, you'll see that in the next frame. Actually, the one after that one. But you can see this is still going slow. It's moving at about north of 8 miles per hour. And it is starting to come towards Cuba. I'm not sure if this will make landfall in Cuba. It might go a little bit to the east, but it's still either way going to be a major storm. There goes the IR satellite view as well. You can see we've had a lot of bursts of convection toward the south, and then of course the main center, lots of bursts of convection. So this is where the track is still going towards the north through Florida, Tampa, Tallahassee. Still gotta watch out as well. We're starting to see a little bit of a western trend, but they've been going back and forth models and all that, so we can't really give the gospel just yet. So let's look at the new cone. 1 p.m. Tuesday, we're looking at a 105 Category 2 hurricane just to the east. Or just to the west of Key West in that region in southwest Florida. Then about 1 a.m. Wednesday, we're looking at a 120 mile per hour Category 3. This is just to the west of Tampa, and that's going to cause a lot of storm surge. You have those strong winds coming in from the south. We definitely gonna have a big storm surge problem there. And then we have to also worry about the storm surge threat over here as well. We're looking at higher storm surge threats than we had yesterday. At about 1 p.m. on Wednesday, we're looking at about a 90 mile per hour Category 1 by the time after it makes landfall. So this storm is still going to have some strength as it moves over land. And then even to the South Carolina region, we're still dealing with, at 1 a.m. Thursday, 60 mile per hour tropical storm. So the winds are not going to back down, even to when it's off the coast of the Carolinas. 1 p.m. Thursday, still a 60 mile per hour tropical storm. And then even out towards the Atlantic, nearing Bermuda, we still are dealing with that 50 mile per hour storm chance. Even at 1 p.m. Saturday, still dealing with that. So the tropical storm Idalia movement right now is to the north at 8 miles per hour. The maximum winds within it is 70 miles per hour. Likely going to become a hurricane in the next advisory, or at the 11 o'clock advisory. The winds, maximum wind gusts 85 miles per hour with a pressure that is about a normal hurricane pressure of 987 millibars. So that's just gonna get deeper as this storm gets closer to Florida. Here's the official cone showing that major hurricane just before landfall and continuing through the Carolinas. Here's the new peak storm surge forecast. You can see now we're up to 8 to 12 in parts of the Big Bend. In Florida, Tampa Bay, 4 to 7 feet. Still dealing with that as well. So even down to the Florida Keys, we're also going to be dealing with that. Then on the other side of Florida, and the other side of the waters, we're still dealing with storm surge. 2 to 4 feet of possible storm surge in the Carolinas and Georgia, also possible. Storm force wind speeds probability still showing. We have a 90% chance near the Big Bend region. Towards Tallahassee, we still have that chance. Tampa also going to be dealing with tropical storm force probabilities. I think the eastern part, like I said, the eastern part has a bigger chance for any tropical storm wind probabilities because it's just such a big wind field on the east side. But we can't rule that out on the west side either. Hurricane force wind probabilities also going through the Big Bend and parts of Tampa, through Tallahassee as well. Here's the new rainfall outlook, estimated rainfall outlook. It's moved to the west. The east, my bad. It's moved to the east just a bit. Tampa now in that 6 to 10 range of rainfall. And then we have it moving through the Big Bend region, Gainesville in that 4 to 6 to 10 region as well. Like I said yesterday, I was expecting a moderate risk. And we also have a 6 to 10 up in Myrtle Beach in the Wilmington area. But like I said yesterday, I was kind of expecting and surprised that they did not issue a moderate risk, but now they have issued a moderate risk, and this is continuing to move towards the east. Earliest reasonable arrival times of tropical storm force winds are showing that we have this earliest and most reasonable time around Tuesday at 8 p.m. on the western side of Florida. And then as we go to the most likely arrival time of tropical storm force winds, we're looking about Tuesday as well around 8 p.m. through Wednesday 8 a.m. And that's all times through Central Daylight Time. So, if we're really going to be watching for some really strong winds within this area. So now we're going to look at a few high-res models, and then that's going to be the end of the video. First, let's look at the HRRR just for severe parameters, because we are not going to be looking at this for the wind or how they really mature this hurricane. But they bring these outer bands. Some of these could bring some tornadoes towards Tampa, Tallahassee, Jacksonville. And the reason why I've really put some of these impacts to be all the way towards Pensacola down to Key West through Miami, because of these outer bands. The severe threat is there for these storms to produce an isolated spin up. And then, of course, the HRRR are going to go with the western part, making that landfall near the Tallahassee region. But, we're going to be dealing with a lot of flooding. And speaking of flooding, like I said, we're in that moderate risk. They do bring it through Valdosta up towards there. I could still see a western trend by tonight. And then by the time this storm is still in parts of southern Georgia by 2 p.m. on Wednesday, we're still going to be dealing with that potential for, look at this, for the potential of some more tornadoes and some severe storms. I do believe we are under a slight risk in parts of these regions as well. We're going to take a look at some spaghetti plots. This is the GEFS. They're showing, of course, they're going to be showing some stuff. But, the general vicinity is on the western side. The GEFS has always been on the western side since the storm also started. And then we're going to take a look at the Euros one. They've also been on they have been on the eastern side. So those have been the really turning points there. But they've been on the eastern side since the storm has really formed. And then we're going to look at models here. The guidance so far does bring it in the middle of those as well. So, we're dealing with the between here. There's no gospel yet, but, it's there. The GFS, that's the GFS. Yeah, the GFS does bring it back into Florida pretty weak, but, the GFS does some crazy stuff sometimes. And then we're going to look at some hurricane models here, the HWRF. We're going to start with them. And, they're going to bring it into the eastern part of the cone here and then move it through the Carolinas. This cannot be out of the question either. We're going to go to the HMON. This also going to bring it on the eastern side as well. I already, can guess it in my mind. There you go. Bring it on the eastern side, and then they move it through the Carolinas as well. And then we're going to look at the HAFSA, and then we're going to, okay, so they're coming out with the new one, but we're going to look at their 12Z really quickly. And they are going to bring it, this is Iron, that's why. They are going to bring Idalia into the central part of Florida in through the Carolinas and Georgia. And this is more of the general idea of what the storm will do, bringing it through the North Carolina region, bringing some of that tornadic threat through the central part. And then we're going to look at one more here of the GAFSB. This is the parent run. I don't want to look at the actual. Okay. And then they're also going to do the same thing as well. Pretty much the general idea. They're going to bring it through central. This is really the main idea here. Bring it through central part of the Big Bend, through the Carolinas, bringing that storm surge threat on land with those winds coming on shore there. That is the main idea of what is going to happen. So thank you all so much for watching this video. If you are anywhere in the Florida region, you gotta be careful, because this is going to be a pretty nasty event. Next update for me will be tomorrow. So yeah, definitely gonna have to watch this storm. Tropical storm Idalia gonna become a major hurricane before landfall. Will be Category 3. Will be Category 4. We'll have to continue to watch models and what does pan out in the actual observation. So thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.